Hello folks and welcome to this very special Q&A interview. My name is Steve from Playtonic and I'm joined by...
You introduce yourself really professionally.
I know, I do it really well, don't I?
Gavin. Alright?
And what's your job, Gavin?
Why do I pause it? I don't even know my own job.
We don't know what you do either.
Founder, studio director, always trying to just get back and be a designer. I just want to be a designer and make games, but I have to do a lot of the director level stuff these days. So creatively directing lots of games, including the one we're going to talk about today that I'm allowed to talk about.
Yes, yeah, just
the
one that we're going to talk about. Yeah,
cool.
Okay. So Gavin Price, studio director, founder, supreme chancellor, businessman. Entrepreneur.
Give me as many titles as you want. I still only get one wage.
Business card this long. That's what we'll do. And what about you, Mark?
You've introduced him.
That's it.
Spoiler. That's Mark.
Yeah. So I'm Mark Stevenson, and my function at Playtonic is the head of art. But I dabble in a lot of things.
Okay.
Besides art,
such as
a bit of design here and there. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Many hats at Playtonic.
Exactly. We've always
what
had
else?
many hats
You
at
said
Playtonic.
many things. That's just design. What else?
Well, you know, if we're going back to the original yooka-laylee, there was like character models, animation,
That's covered by
UI,
head of art.
VFX.
Head of art covers that.
Oh my lord!
Oh right. So I designed Pagey Challenge 1. I designed Pagey Challenge 2XB version 3.
So what might be evident to people is that this is our second take of doing this Q&A because
we sleep on the first.
This is our re-Q&A-lee, as I'm calling it, because we are talking about Yooka-Replaylee, the newly announced game, the one that we can talk about. Mm-hmm. This is the remastered, tackled again, definitive version of Yooka-Laylee, the game that started it all. And we're here to talk about that a little bit and kind of just talk about what it means to Playtonic, what it means to you guys to go back to the game and look at it again. So yeah, I mean, let's start with the beginning, I guess. What is Yooka-Replaylee? We've seen the trailer. A few people have asked, you know, how far does it go? Asking about what is a remake, what is a remaster. What is it to you, Gav?
It's not a simple one to answer because it's actually a lot of little things. But the way I've first of all got my head around it was thinking of it as it's a 10-year celebration that Playtonic, with an idiot like me helping run the place, hasn't gone under. It still exists. So you know, by the time it's out, we'll be able to celebrate the 10 years of Playtonic, and ultimately, it's the game that with 10 more years of knowledge of being back and working in fun genres like platformers, because we weren't prior to Playtonic, we were doing a lot of other stuff. We were a little bit rusty, and we were time poor, money poor, and we didn't have those two critical elements to make the game as great as we wanted to. I think we did, honestly, a really admirable job if people understood what you had to do to make a decent game these days, and the kind of budgets you need when you do working with artists who demand high fidelity output like Mark does.
We all work for free.
Yes, it was really challenging at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were doing a lot of things, learning how to run a studio, doing boring account stuff, legal stuff, working in a completely different setup and way than we had before. You know, it was a wonderful thing when you're working for a first-party studio like Rare, is you get so much stuff taken care of for you, so you could just focus on the game. We couldn't do that as a startup. We probably had a few bad habits built into us as well that we had to get out of. So no, in that long time that's passed, of course, if you're doing things right, you've learned a thing or two again, and you want to go back and make things right.
Yeah, so. And we've had like, you know, the team's grown massively as well. So I mean, how big were you back then compared to where we're at now?
I was about 5'8". I think I've shrunk a little bit.
Gone down an inch or two.
Yeah, I've put a bit on around the waist. Lost a lot off the top of the hair as well. So, and numerically, I think the team was about 20 21. It depends. Do we count Steve Mayles as a full human being or
I
not?
think that wasn't for the entire duration as well, though. You know,
No.
it
That
did
was-
grow over time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we kind of worked out it was on average about 15. It would have been the equivalent of about 15 people made that game
Wow.
in 18 months, was it?
15
roughly?
people, half competent at the time.
Yeah. So 7.5 people if we're being precise, and that covers Steve as well, right? That's it. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, so we are now a studio of nearly 60 people, I think, around about.
I lose count, but I do know everyone's name.
Yeah.
Which
You
is
did
good.
call me James the other day.
That's your surname. Maybe I was, and the fact is, I think 1 in 6 people at Playtonic are called James.
Or Steve.
do have a
There's a
very
few
high
Steves
James
as well.
You
voice,
just
yeah.
say Steve or James, you've got a really good chance of saying the right name.
Yeah,
I'll be
it's
honest.
that's telling.
Which
It sounds better
helps.
than going oi, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's something we've ironed out since the start, right? We talked about teething troubles. I think calling everyone oi was a big one to get rid of. I mean, we've had, obviously the response has been amazing. I don't think I even actually said my role. I'm the community guy, so I'm the guy that does all the tweeting and the internet posting, and we've been really blown away by the reaction, But we've seen some questions, and that's why we're here. The trailer looks gorgeous. I think that was the first thing. We all sat down on the day and watched it before it went live in the Guerrilla Collective. We had everyone in the sofa area, and the response internally has obviously been really exciting. And we were all really pleased to see it do really well externally as well. It's been really, really positive. And
Thank you, everyone.
yeah, thank you guys.
Cheers.
And the trailer looks great, and a big portion of a remaster is going back and redoing the art, right? So can you shed a little bit of light on that, Mark, in terms of what it's been like going back on Laylee or Yooka-Laylee to do this, and what the kind of plan has been and the direction behind going back and revamping the art style and the graphics and stuff?
So I guess with the original one, there was a lot smaller team. We were spread very thin. People had to take on multiple roles as well, And since we've grown, we've allowed ourselves as a studio to be able to specialise in roles more with a lot of our newer staff, so people can be much more focused on being the best they can at what they do. And also as well, that gives us the chance to bring in all these amazing techniques that kind of expect to see in these games these days, especially if you're talking.
Hey?
Well, we're not announced that, have we? You can cut that.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
We wanted to get in all the nice, lovely graphical effects that you kind of expect these days. We've got amazing grass systems, fur on Laylee, loads of lovely volumetric lighting and fog, reactive water now, and one of the big changes for me was the lighting. It was probably one of the worst things from my point of view as an artist. You'd go in dark areas and you couldn't really tell what the heck was going on. So now everything's using fantastically light mapped reflection probes and light probes and all these things. I don't know what they are. People just tell me that's what we're using. So
No, I think you guys have done a great job. Seeing the trailer, looking back, and this is my personal opinion, I look back and I think that game graphically was a really nice looking game.
I think so too.
And I thought, man, there's not much room for improvement. The fact that when we see that night and day transition between old and new in the trailer, you see how much it has improved. I think, oh wow, that's fantastic. I look back at the game and I think design should hold our hands up, and actually we're the ones who've got most to change and improve. But
when I first saw that transition from old to new, I just breathed a sigh of relief, having been saying, yeah, of course we can make it look better, of course we can make it look better.
Yeah.
Phew, we did.
We had a few people I try and absorb as many comments as I can, and we had a few people just be like, I didn't really think it needed a graphical lick of paint, But when you see them side by side, you're right. You can look and go, oh, do you know what? Yeah. And it adds a whole load more life to the worlds, doesn't it? And
I think you're going to see a much more massive benefit as well in the interior areas, where the lighting really does make a huge difference.
Yeah, I think one thing for me, a touch point on at least the graphical side of things, the skyboxes. There's some special stuff in there, right? That's kind of come a long way as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of our newer artists as well, working on those.
Oh, nice.
Beautifully handcrafted.
Excellent.
There's a bit of life in the
yeah.
skybox now
Yeah.
as well, and that sense of a bigger world. You know, I'll be honest, the experience, this type of game, it was graphically rich enough as it was, but now seeing the worlds and elements of them come to life and the little things we weren't doing back then, and we've just now got time to analyse and go, oh, we can have things like that. I love the little ropes just swaying now,
Yeah.
and the leaf motion in the trees, and you can see that in the trailer on Shipwreck Creek, and the lights being on, and you just think, yeah, time. If you could just have more time back then, you'd probably start doing a few more of these things.
Yeah.
But limitations were what they were, and you could only do what we could do. But no, it's great seeing Mark cracking the whip on the team, you know, getting them performing better.
And you touched on it there that we've got new members of the team coming on and working on this as well, which is a good thing for them, right? Like,
totally. I mean, we have quite a few people that specifically joined because they wanted to work on a product like Yooka-Laylee. So now they're actually getting a literal chance to work on it, you know. But
They backed us, some of them.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's amazing, really, isn't it?
Did you, Steve?
I didn't know. Sorry, no.
So yeah, it's great because we're bringing in people that already have the same kind of passion for the products that we make.
Yeah.
To kind of be the new, I don't know, evangelists.
The torch bearers,
torch
right?
bearers,
Take
yeah.
the torch, that's the metaphor.
For Playtonic.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully they'll be making amazing products for Playtonic for many years to come.
Well, this is it. So we've obviously...
Sounds like he just wants a big retirement.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Youngsters in. They'll make our old game better. Brilliant. We can just sit back, relax, put our slippers on.
Yeah, put a light map in, whatever that is. Just give me my retirement.
Add some Fresnel.
So yeah, we've talked about the graphics. Obviously, there's a lot more to this than just the liquor paint, though, right? So we've alluded to improved camera and controls. We talked about remix challenges, tweaks to abilities, and a couple of other things. So let's go over these a little bit as much as we can. Gav, maybe you can touch on camera and control stuff.
Camera and controls, yeah. Controls at the time, I remember straight away people saying it felt off and a bit unresponsive. And yeah, we get that, it did. We looked into it, we know why. You know, our animations were too fluid and there wasn't enough contrast between changing states. So you're pressing the button, the game's, yep, got your response, but nothing's being reflected visually. There's no instant feedback for you. So all things like that have been changed across the moveset. Elements of the moveset were just plain wrong. We weren't flowing and being able to switch and transition from certain moves to certain moves, particularly if you ever try and do anything coming out of ball roll or whilst in ball roll. What's it called in the game? What's the proper name? Reptile roll.
Yes.
Yeah, so things like that. So there's some corrections we were doing wrong. I've, for how many years now, just been absolutely seething. Every morning I wake up thinking about that flying game.
I knew it was coming.
And I can't. Yeah, we had a really good one to begin with. Lovely, symmetrical, easy to steer. And then Steve Mayles just like went rogue one day, didn't he?
Just had a bad Wednesday and just...
Oh, I don't know what he was doing. You know, and yeah, he put in that asymmetrical one with weird movement and direction. So even just trying to fly in a straight line is just absolutely difficult, more difficult than it should be. So no, lots of improvements. Some really subtle, but they have a big difference. Some immediately noticeable. I think we should do probably a future video alone, just go through controls and showing people before and afters.
Yeah. So I think that's important to note. If this video doesn't cover a question that you wanted to have the answer to, there's a very good chance that we will in the future, because we are going to do a bunch of videos where we get, you know, a couple of you devs from each department to talk about each separate one of these improvements and changes and revisions, so that we can really get down to the
Send the
details.
questions in. £1.99 as well gets you a guaranteed answer.
That cheap.
Twice my rate.
That's why they call you Gavin Cut Price.
Hey, that's
like
good.
that, yeah.
That's good. All right, we'll clip that one. That's good.
And that's the reason the context for cut as well.
So we talked about a little bit of the camera controls, the abilities themselves.
We didn't talk about camera controls. We just talked about the.
We did talk about the
animation.
actual controls. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Well, I'm
Camera
glad you're paying
controls
attention.
as well, so-
This was a test.
Yes, there's going to be changes to camera controls. There's just different things as well, like certain settings, focal lengths, contexts we weren't covering. We were trying to be helpful. It really was coming from a nice place where we think this will help the player out if the camera just handles going past this tree by moving like that and making sure you can still see the characters. Turns out we were wrong. Hold our hands up. So there's been a lot of great platforming games out since we came out, and there's been a lot more, even for themselves, over their previous iterations. They've constantly improved. So with the time, we've been able to analyse and look and say, all right, what really works in these particular instances, we'll integrate that and take advantage of other people's hard work and toil and steal their solutions. But it improves the game no end. You really want to forget your having to think about things like the camera.
Yeah.
You know, every moment you're not thinking about just the pure fun that we're trying to engage the player to have, we're kind of failing. So any friction, any issues like that, and the camera can cause a lot, we're going to try and get rid of as many as we can, if not every single one.
All right. Not too much of a pledge there.
No.
So now we can talk about abilities. We've obviously alluded to the fact that we're going to go back and revisit a few of them. So what's the mantra there? What's the sort of planning on that front? What are we doing?
The ability is just refinement. Being able to make sure that any challenges you come across requiring them as well, it's a bit more natural and they're a bit more gated, and around those areas you'll have been using those moves. You know, the ability unlocking, it's kind of just legacy from Banjo-Kazooie, and it was an interesting take on how to progress through a game back then.
Yeah.
But it caused us a lot of problems. We had big worlds, and if you were exploring these worlds and you just didn't have the moves in the right place at the right time, it had a big negative effect on the experience and your time with the game. So we're adding in lots more ways to take advantage of the moves as well as you navigate around the levels. More things to do, new fresh things, coins, new currency, as well as the quills aren't going, you still have to go and collect them all. Locations of quills will be tweaked as well.
Yeah.
That quill on jungle
Will be even harder to find, maybe.
Oh yeah, Kev Bayless put that somewhere. Never
We can
give
bury one like in Donkey Kong. Do that.
Never give an artist a designer's job. Which is actually what you're doing these days.
That was kind of what it was like, though.
Yeah.
Towards the end, everybody had to chip in in order to get it over that finish line. So
yeah, I think it's just allowing us out. We talked a lot in the non Q&A Lee about the actual sense of having that time to do things, right? So this has been afforded a lot more time to spread that out and allow those things to sort of grow, right? And we're going to segue nicely into, because you've just touched on the ways to use the abilities in terms of tweaking the challenges and looking at some new and remix challenges. So I know you've got some thoughts on a couple of challenges, right?
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm the game's harshest critic. I've gone back and played it, and I've been cringing and embarrassed and holding my head in my hands and crying into my whiskey and all sorts. So there's lots of opportunity to improve what's there. Anything where we just look at it now and go, fundamentally this was bad game design, or we executed a good idea badly, we should change and we should improve. We should make something that reflects the fact that we think we've improved as developers. You know, even in the short time between Yooka-Laylee and then Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, I think the Impossible Lair was so much better because we got more time to relax, analyse, think about things, think things through, set up joyful moments and not these harsh, punishing fail loops. We're almost like the Dark Souls as 3D platformers when I look back at it, and I don't like that. I think I've changed as a person. I'm like, no, we want people. You've paid the entry fee. We shouldn't be gatekeeping fun behind so much hardship and friction. We just want you to enjoy the game and every element of it. So there's still challenge there. Challenge and punishment are two different things.
Yeah.
You can create engaging, challenging gameplay. You just don't have to really punish the player or kick them while they're down whilst you're doing it.
Yeah.
So there's so many improvements, new challenges, tweaks to the existing ones. Anything where we think we can make a real good solid improvement, let's go do that. So if you've played through the game before, expect lots of new surprises and things worth checking out. Wish list now.
That's my
And some of the challenges are naturally just going to benefit from the improvements in the character control and the more fluid way you can go between moves, and the improvements in the camera as well. Because sometimes those things alone are enough to make a challenge not fun. If you're fighting with the camera or the controls.
Yeah, if you're wrestling the game itself, that is a challenge on top of the challenge, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good way of looking at it. And we've talked about the currency, we've talked about the challenges a little bit. We've sort of lightly touched on quality of life changes outside of that. So we've hinted there's going to be a map for each level. We've also talked a little bit about a challenge tracker. So Mark, maybe you can give us a little bit more insight into a map and challenge tracker and how that's going to work.
There will be a map and there will be a challenge tracker.
Cut.
I think one of the comments we saw a lot was, and one of the things we felt was people got very different experiences as well, because it's such an open experience, the original game. We left it up to the player to find their way around, to figure out what they could and couldn't do. So we're hoping to alleviate a lot of that by introducing a map, firstly so you can see where you need to go, and it's not a topographical correct thing of let's find a way. It's more of a here's a location over here, here's a location over there, and likewise with the quest tracker you'll be able to find things that you could do or can do as well, because some of the challenges depend on whether you've got moves unlocked or not. So it's just taking the annoying bits out of figure this out, getting thrown in at the deep end, and hopefully this way as well that'll mean that people can go through the experience and enjoy it in the best way possible, rather than going off and constantly finding things they can't do because they haven't got the moves. And hopefully a lot of this stuff will alleviate those issues.
Yeah, it's a really useful tool, and it's like any tool, it's how you want to use it as well.
Right.
So some people will absolutely go, you know what, I loved the challenge of figuring everything out myself. I do it the same. Whenever I go to a new location in real life, I'm like, wow, I've got to mentally map out this area in space so I feel like I could navigate it like a pro. The next day whenever you go on holiday to a new place or things like that. So some people love that aspect, but for some people, they really want to be able to guarantee themselves a good, fruitful time with the game whenever they turn it on, whenever they get a chance.
Yeah. Some people's time's precious, right?
Yeah, and time is precious, and you want it to be productive. So it's there, waypointer info, help people get to doing stuff that they can do at the right place at the right time this time around. So,
and it's not forced, is it either? Really, it's something on the pause screen, right? So we're looking to make it so that it's not. If you're happy with the game in that sense, the way it was, then great, you can kind of ignore it.
Yeah, I think giving players choice these days is generally the best route to go down. To not be restricted and say you must enjoy the game on my terms. This is how I envisioned it. No, I don't like it when I play games. I sometimes need them to bend a bit to my needs.
Yeah.
So.
We absolutely don't want to go the other way and have a game that's leading people around by the hand and literally giving them a checklist of do this and do that, because that's not fun either.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, cool. So we've also got a few other things that we can loosely touch on. Orchestral Soundtrack, something that we've obviously talked about is going to be in the game. We actually had Grant Kirkhope retweeted the screenshot of the Steam bit.
You're joking.
I know, yeah.
He'll probably bill us for that.
Unbelievable. He actually DM'd me, and said so. No, so he retweeted that, which obviously everybody saw that and got very excited. We'll have some more news on that soon because we'll be doing some stuff around
I've
that.
seen what he's charging for us to send him over. It's
Have you?
Unbelievable.
Send him over where, Gav?
To Orchestra Town.
I mean, he is like a rock star.
Yes, yeah.
His
Video
demands
game
were
music.
crazy.
Yeah, didn't he want like
honestly.
only blue M&Ms in his trailer or something? He wanted the whole trailer, I believe, as well.
He wanted all the blue M&Ms in the world.
No, he didn't want that. They were too hard for his teeth.
It's
I see.
ridiculous,
I see.
honestly.
We'll have to
It's
cut
still
all of
as
this out
tight
because
as ever.
he'll be fuming.
No, leave it in. The world must know how Grant extorts lovely,
Soft Playtonic.
wonderful indie developers, not just us. He's a terribly but talented guy. I'll give him his credit where it's due. And,
That almost sounded spite. That was bitter. That was I'll give him it where it's due.
yeah, no, it is great. Honestly, it's really fun.
People are really excited to hear this, And
No, and it's great. He did amazing tunes, right? So hearing them in their best, how can you say like hear them in their best light? Yeah, and light is a visual thing. Hear them in their best
sound.
wave yet.
They're going to
Wave
slap.
yet.
The
Their
kids
best-
would say that they're going to
yeah.
slap now. The tracks are really going to slap. Yeah.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, they're a bop, I think.
Oh, totally.
Right? A bop? Is bop is still a thing? I don't know. I'm speaking to myself.
It is
this
in
one.
my house. We bop all the time.
Yeah, always bopping. So there's a few other things as well. There's some other bonus stuff knocking around that we haven't sort of teased too much yet, but I want to say that we haven't talked about it just yet because I want people to know there is more stuff to come. We alluded to it in the trailer. It does say there's a big thing that slaps on and more to come. But just to really sort of lay it on thick that there is other things in the
Yeah,
in
we
the
have to spray
pipeline.
our marketing beats out. We don't want to just go out all out with it straight away now, will we? That's not good for wish listing. Or,
Wish list the game.
Yeah,
That's it. That's the main one right now. Wish lists. That's what we're all about.
it's a CTA.
It's a CTA. That's it.
Yeah,
Well done.
yeah,
Yeah, there we
yeah.
go. He's learning, folks. We're
Not a
taking him around.
disease. Call to action.
Call to
Oh.
action. Yeah, a call to action is when we say, please wishlist the game. It does really help us if you do
Subliminal,
wishlist the game.
isn't it? Subtle.
I don't know if we're allowed to be subliminal. I think that's a crime. I don't think you can advertise subliminally. We could try.
We should
Maybe
got-
we are.
We should have got
Maybe
t-shirts
we wish
printed
list
with
now
wish list the
are.
game written on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this whole thing has been a subliminal message. People,
Trousers on the sales team.
he is, yeah. Which as somebody on the sales team, I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable
Much
with.
much
but-
improved re-snake-skinned trouser. is on the
Reskinned.
text.
Wow,
Yeah,
I'm using
yeah.
that for Twitter. Yeah.
You know, he looked great before. The characters, it's hard to actually see some of the visual upgrades on the characters, isn't it? But their skin in meshes, the
Yeah,
quality,
just the
what
visual
was
fidelity,
once
really.
just a blurry little texture, I think is like rope belt or something, is now physically correct and driven by a physics system which animates procedurally based on his movement.
I can't tell if you're being
Sounds like you're
serious or
making
not.
stuff up
Yeah, I
now.
genuinely have no idea. I can't tell if you're being
I
sincere.
will say you did invest a lot of time on Yuka's new level of fidelity and the scales and
Yooka-laylee.
Will we
Yuka
do?
scaling. Yeah.
Will we do better colouring so you can actually see his slurp shot states better, or his when he takes some new skins? Like when you took damage before, or when you had the fire breath, they were pretty similar, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that whole thing was a nightmare because design wanted all these different combinations of you can pick this up and this and that and the other, So
And
you only have yourself to blame,
Art
really.
would try to restrict us, going, we don't have the skill for doing this correct. We don't.
We haven't got the time.
Don't worry, 10 years' time,
We
we'll
did.
do an update,
And-
we'll have some new artists to
I think you'll find there's only so many colours in the rainbow that exist.
We
Is that
didn't use
true?
pink, we didn't use purple.
This is the important feedback we got: is there was not enough pink or purple. This is it. We need more colours, and it's looking more colourful.
Well,
right?
and more
That's-
Vendi, I hear.
Well, I mean, you did confirm 3 Vendi games in our previous take, so
I wasn't going to mention them in this one.
I-
Now you've confirmed
I have
3
to.
Vendi
No.
games.
I'm confirming that you confirmed 3 Vendi games, but I had to get that in. That was too good.
And now Vendo, the long lost brother of Vendi.
This is good. We're making
Which is-
stuff up now.
This is
Because
great.
No.
it's going out publicly. We have
This
to
is
do
law.
it.
This is canon. Yeah. This is like I tweeted that Vendi was actually made of flesh, so we need to factor that into the new game if we can. So not like I don't want like metallic chips on the new Vendi. We need it to be like a skin
maybe that's
texture.
just underneath though. You know?
Yeah. Like anatomically.
Like the creatures in Daleks or something.
Yeah. Inside she's an organic thing. I think we can write that into law now. Agreed?
Yeah, well, she's got that tongue.
Exactly. A machine doesn't have a tongue.
Did we do the thing we always said in the first game? You had to tongue lick the tonic off Vendi's tongue to collect it. Or did we that's a step too far?
That sounds pretty disgusting.
Yeah, that would be. I think DeviantArt would have a field day with that. I think.
It's disgusting. One man's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, don't yuck it. We're not here to yuck anyone's yum. Is the?
I think that would have affected our age rating. To be honest.
Yeah, it may have.
Positively or negatively?
Well, depends whether you see going older as negative.
Yeah.
Right, let's get this back on track. One last sort of holistic message, really, in terms of, we did have a few people say, it's been so long. Why have we come out with our first announcement being this over something else? So maybe you could just speak to why we've chosen to do it this way and why we're doing this.
Because the other games that we're not allowed to talk about aren't ready to be mentioned yet, but this one is, and that's how time works.
Perfect. There we go.
And honestly, it kills me more than anyone else. I'm a blabbermouth, and I want to tell everyone.
I'm terrified that we're doing this.
I know, and I've got all those things. I'm like, if people knew that, they'd go, what?
Yeah, I can probably attest to that.
That's why I'm playing poker right now and hoping people believe me and I'm double. I don't know.
Maybe this is all a double bluff. And
maybe Trousers based on me.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting. It says one thing, can't deliver. Do you know? Here's a tip. Why is Trouser a snake? We literally. I remember saying to Steve Mayles, I want Trouser, the move giver, to be like, no, this is how you do it. And I was like, what creature, no matter what the move was, if they were trying to demonstrate this is how you're doing it and thinking they're doing it great, is clearly not doing anything other than what they're. And it's like, it was a snake, a worm, or an eel. And I think snake and snake oil salesman and things we've got to go with a snake.
So the snake came before the name then?
Yeah.
On Trouser?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I actually wanted to rename Trouser as well after the second game. I felt like, it was a kind of a juvenile pun.
That's brilliant. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
But I'm getting old and I've got kids now, and I'm like,
you can't explain Trouser to them.
Yeah, things like that.
I think that's great. I think for a lot of people, the whole charm is that it's got those kind of little nods to silly. I mean, look at Mooney.
It does, yeah. And it's happened now, and you can't change things. They're out there. Do the best with what you've got. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Live and learn. Make sure those new Vendi games, the naming conventions are spot on.
Yeah, we need to.
We'll take it from there.
Some good SEO names, right? We'll on the marketing side, we'll think of some good stuff for that. But yeah, I think that probably covers about as much as we can at this point. We've had some other comments about pricing and whether we're going to be on consoles and all of that side of stuff. And
60 frames a second.
60 frames a second. Yeah.
Why don't we confirm it now? And then the tech guys are like, we've got to do it now. They've said it publicly. Yeah, Mark guarantees 60 frames a second.
On anything that it's on, it will be. Yeah, no. But seriously, we will have more answers to your questions soon. We are going to do these feature videos where we go through and talk about everything a little bit more. But we've alluded. There's a ways to go yet, right? We're in development. We're in active development on this and some other projects.
We're in active development.
Active development, yeah.
Not inactive development.
No, yeah. I suppose they do cancel each other out a little bit, don't they? Yeah.
This is like us getting revenge now. You can come out with modern new words that that work in your job. We're like, yeah. Interesting, yeah.
Active development, yeah. We are actively developing a game. That works.
We're at our desks doing star jumps.
You are a standing desk.
Oh, yeah, this feels good.
I can't do this. I'll click and break. So we won't do any of that. But yes, we are in development on this and a few other projects that we've hinted to. So rest assured, there will be more coming soon, and we will have more answers to your questions soon. I do want to finalise this with one thing.
Wish list now. Oh,
Yeah, no. I asked you both last time what your one most looked forward to improvement, change, revision is. So if you can make it snappy-ish, what is your one thing, Mark?
The map that we already mentioned.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to make a massive difference to the overall experience.
Sweet. Okay. Gav?
it's an interesting question and one that poses many things and conundrums. You know, there's so many contenders, great worthy contenders that will increase the game's accessibility and enjoyment for such a broader range of gamers, skill levels. But I would say the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, and one of the biggest idiotic mistakes we made in the first game, is any element of gameplay which requires jumping. To engage with it, should have a drop-down shadow directly showing you its ground position in relation to yourself, which I can't believe we released a 3D platform and we didn't do that. We had directional ladders, directional lighting, casting shadows on objects, giving you misinformation and bad reads. So every time you jumped for that quill, thinking, oh yeah, look how great I am, and you're like, the character's just flown by, what happened then? It was our fault, we're fixing that.
Excellent. Like that scene in the Matrix.
That is my short and snappy, totally great thing I'm looking forward to that will cause people to want to go and wishlist right now.
Perfect, there we go. All right, well, thank you very much both for sitting down with me again and having this
It's
conversation.
been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's gone better than the first
I
one.
agree,
feel
yeah.
more energised.
This was a bit more unhinged.
When I watched the first
Very
recording back,
unhinged.
we were sat there pretty dour, weren't we? And
Yeah, you looked like I was holding you
It was like-
hostage.
Rabbits in headlights.
honestly, I'd had a good lunch that day. And I was struggling.
Did you have one of the
Um,
breakfast muffins?
Yeah, and you know, me and Mark, we can only really feed back off your energy, and you were a bit, you know, if you don't show up, we can't.
Wow, okay,
So,
that's the
what you
real
have
reason.
today, you've
Thank you. Thank
done
you.
really well,
Thank you,
Yeah.
boss.
Steve.
Steve, yes, Steve. You
And
were going to say, Mark?
I think my energy's up because I was just having a really good day working on a game that I won't mention.
Ah, wow, okay. My heart stopped for a second then. I thought you thought we'd stopped filming. But no, all right, perfect. Thank you so much, guys. This has been a good laugh. I've enjoyed this.
No, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for
yeah.
a great
Yeah.
reception.
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you.
Keep the questions coming. We'd love to know what we're doing badly. Maybe the format, the
Yeah, maybe-
background, the backdrops.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got Laylee in the background. That's good.
Yeah,
But,
too
yeah.
much info, not enough info.
This is my job. I'll do that side. I'll get the good job, bad job questions. I'm sure.
We should do an office day role swapping. Everyone gets to do everyone else's job. For
I would
one
love
day.
that. I would love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be amazing. I would love to do design.
I'd
Actually,
love to change with Steve Mayles. He just sits there eating biscuits, prodding of a younger artist. Oi,
Oh.
not that way, do this way.
That's brutal.
this is going to go out to everybody in the company as well.
We always do a little bit of Steve Mayles bashing. It's only a running joke. It's not even funny actually anymore. It's such low hanging fruit.
Like that hand hanging onto the one leg of Laylee, right?
Oh, what was he thinking? You know?
All right.
It shows you even geniuses every now and again get it wrong. Steve Mayles is proof of that. Other than that, though, he gets a lot of stuff right.
You did call him a genius, and we'll end on that.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, folks. We'll have more answers to your questions soon. Please go and wishlist Yooka-Replaylee on
Stop
Steam.
with that. Come on. You're making us look desperate.
That's it. That's it. It's a cut.
Wish list now.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Ha!
Oh, brilliant. Thank you guys, that was great. That was really good.
Much better.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Weren't it
Really
worth
cool.
it?
That's because you were sat in a more powerful position.
It was.
That's what it was. You're more
Exactly.
confident in
Like
the
a
room.
really crap forgotten comedy double act from the 80s.
That's more Playtonic vibes.
Yeah, there we go.